This is the sixth episode of me and my attempts to find a job. Um, a lot's happened. I reported anything on the 24th of January 2011. I had the Daily Camera, which is the Boulder local newspaper, come interview me because of my resume booth. The Friday preceding that, about the 21st, I decided that I was going to send out an email to the Daily Camera and see if they would come out and interview me, because I knew I only had a little bit of time here left at the apartment. But they came out and they interviewed me and they took some photographs, and then they posted the video online within about 3 hours, 4 hours. And the next morning, before the print edition even came out, I got a phone call from Channel 9 Denver News. And they asked me if I'd be willing to bring my booth out there and do it an hour earlier than I normally do, because they wanted to record it and edit it before and then put it on the news prior to the presidential State of the Union address, in which Obama was going to be addressing the rate, and they wanted to get me on the news before then, seeing as how my booth was about unemployment. And so they came by. I got my booth set up, and it was really great. Mr. Biscuit came out. If you Google Flash Mr. Biscuits and the resume booth, you'll find the Channel 9 News article about me. It was supposed to be Mr. Biscuit. They screwed up and said Mr. Biscuits, because I said, "Look, Mr. Biscuit's here," and they heard a plural Mr. Biscuit instead. Anyway, uh, I got a lot of response from that. I had an interview from a place called Funovation, and it was a good interview. I had to cut it about 30 seconds short because Channel 9 News was pulling up in my front yard to do an interview, and I heard from Funovation today, and they didn't, even though they really liked my panache and whatever panache means, even though they liked my enthusiasm and determination, they went with someone else that had experience in marketing. And I guess the short of it is that aside from having some sort of, it was a lady from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who saw my news broadcast in New Mexico, out of Denver, and she contacted me and called me 3 times in 24 hours, and the freaked me out a little bit. And then she called me at 5 o'clock in the evening that day, and I didn't pick it up. So I thought she was a stalker. Maybe she wasn't. She was, anyway. Um, had a guy invite me out to breakfast. He was a Edward Jones financial investment advisor, and he was really nice. We had a great breakfast. Enjoyed talking to the guy. He pointed me in the direction of an advertising agency, CP&B Advertising, and I applied to them. I sent an application to them. I sent out the other day I sent out, I guess it was, I can't remember, it was like 5 resumes. It was either 5 or 9, I can't remember. I sent out those resumes, and then I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. All I could think about was jobs. So I sent out 2 more applications to places on Career Builder. And then I went walking the streets yesterday, handing out applications where I could. I didn't get the job for the bouncer position. I still don't know why. I have to call them tomorrow and go, what's up. I'm a very intimidating person. You need me to check IDs. keep people out of bars because I'm very determined and shit. But I went walking the streets yesterday. I applied to another advertising agency yesterday online, and then funny thing, I looked up Google satellite images, the street view. I looked at the place. I'm not a numbers memory person, so I'm a very visual person. So when I looked at the the picture, I knew exactly where I needed to go, or so I thought. And I went there and I handed in my application, and they didn't understand what the hell I was talking about. I decided that I was going to hand in my resume to the same place that I applied to online to, really put the nail in the coffin, show that I was some hiring material, and the people didn't know what the hell I was talking about when I was like, I'm applying for the strategist position for your advertising agency. They didn't know what the hell I was talking about, and it turns out that there are multiple places along Pearl Street Mall that look exactly the same as far as this recessed area of storefronts, and it just so happened that on two identical blocks there were two identical recessed areas with two identical advertising agencies, and the only difference was, I guess, their name and the fact that one stairwell was on the left and one stairwell was on the right. So I ended up advertising agencies yesterday, and then applied at a different store. Um, I looked for two apparel retailers, and one was not open, so I couldn't. They hadn't had their grand opening yet, so they hadn't even opened up. They hadn't even opened up shop yet, and so I couldn't apply there. And I lost. I couldn't figure out where the other place was, and then I went home and got drunk and fell asleep. I think I fell asleep on my floor at some point because I didn't want to go to sleep at like 11 o'clock. When you don't want the night to end, so you're tired, so you're just gonna shut your eyes for a second, but the chair you're sitting in hurts your back really bad. Um, oh, my terrible towel. Pittsburgh. Steelers lost the Super Bowl. That was great. I got cable for the first time in over 15 years just so I could watch a football season. And the Redskins, they sucked all season. They sucked. And then I traded up teams with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had a terrible towel. When the Denver Non-News guy did the interview, he asked me if I could put the terrible towel into the picture so that his workmates that were Packers fans would see it and be pissed off. I thought that was really cool. And so I obliged more than willingly. And I guess I'm going to go back home. It's almost been 10 minutes, so I'm going to go back to Virginia. I just wish I could go back on my own terms. I applied to Taco Bell yesterday. Applied to Taco Bell. And right now, I just want to leave here on my own terms. And all I can do is drink and wait and stare at my inbox and hope. It'll be good to see my family again, though. It'll be good to see my family. But I'm going to leave with those thoughts. It's good to see family. Family first.